King David had many sons born to him. The firstborn was called Amnon, and another was called Absalom. He also had a beautiful daughter called Tamar. One day, Amnon attacked his sister Tamar while pretending to be ill, and when Absalom found out, he hated Amnon. But King David, though he was angry with Amnon, didn't do anything about it. 2 years later, Absalom invited his brothers to a place called Baal Hazor. He told his servants that when Amnon was merry with wine, they should kill him. The servants did as they were commanded, and all the other brothers fled away. When the news of what Absalom had done came to King David, he tore his clothes and lay on the ground, and he mourned for Amnon day after day. Absalom ran away and stayed in Geshur for 3 years. But then David wanted to see him again. Joab, David's army commander, knew what David wanted. So he sent a wise woman to the king who made up a story about one of her sons killing his brother. She pleaded with the king to let the surviving son live, even though he'd done such a terrible thing, and David said he would spare him. Then the woman said that David had not done the same thing with his own son, Absalom. He was still banished from Jerusalem. So David let Absalom come back to the city, but he lived in his own house and wasn't allowed to see David. After 2 years, Absalom persuaded Joab to speak to the king for him, and David welcomed his son into his presence and kissed him. Absalom was a very handsome man with lots of beautiful hair. He got himself a chariot and 50 men to run in front of him, and he used to rise up early to stand by the gate. When anyone had a matter they wanted to bring to King David, Absalom would listen to them first. Then he would lie and say, "The king hasn't got anyone to listen to you, but if I were in charge, I would give you justice." And all the Israelites began to love Absalom. Some years later, Absalom went to Hebron. He sent secret messengers throughout the land, saying, "As soon as you hear the trumpet, say, 'Absalom is king.'" Lots and lots of people joined Absalom, including David's advisor, Ahithophel. Then a message came to David, "The hearts of the men of Israel have gone after Absalom." So David and his servants ran away from Jerusalem. On the way to the wilderness, they met a foreigner called Ittai, who said he would follow David wherever he went. Abiathar and Zadok the priests also came to David with the Ark of the Covenant. But David told them to stay in Jerusalem and listen to Absalom's plans. Then David went up the Mount of Olives, weeping greatly and praying to the Lord. While he was there, a man called Hushai came to him. David sent Hushai back into the city to be a spy, and he arrived there just as Absalom was entering Jerusalem. This story shows us that wickedness should be punished. David should have punished Amnon for attacking his sister, and he should have punished Absalom for killing his brother. Trouble came when he didn't. Thankfully, we can escape the punishment we deserve through the Lord Jesus Christ. And the story shows that we should always be faithful to God's king, like Ittai and the priests. We should serve and follow the Lord Jesus, no matter what happens. And the story shows that in our troubles, we should call on the Lord. David prayed on the mountain, and God heard his cry.